What if I told you there is a hidden pattern in the times we live in? A pattern that most people completely miss, even though it affects everyone. Elder Bednar has pointed out something so overlooked, yet so important, that it could change the way you see everything happening around you. Have you ever felt like life is changing so fast, and yet most people don't notice the small signs all around them? Confusion, challenges in families, struggles at work or school, people feeling lost or lonely. It can feel heavy sometimes. Many of us worry about what's coming next, but we don't always understand why things happen the way they do. Elder Bednar, a wise teacher and prophet in the church, has shared something very important. He talks about a hidden pattern in the last days, something most people miss. A pattern that connects the events around us in a way that can give meaning and guidance to our lives. You might think, the last days, isn't that just uncertainty? But it is more than that. There is a deeper meaning. A way to see life clearly. A way to understand why things happen in our world and in our hearts. And once you notice this pattern, it can change the way you think, feel, and live. Imagine being able to see signs that most people overlook. Imagine understanding what is happening in your life and the world in a new way. That is what Elder Bednar is revealing. But here is the twist. What he points out is not obvious. Many people will miss it at first. And that is exactly why this message is so important. So, I want you to listen carefully, and think about this as we go through the video. Am I noticing what others are missing? Am I ready to understand the hidden pattern of these times? By the end of this video, you will see the pattern clearly. You will see connections you never noticed before. And you may even feel a change in the way you think, the way you pray, and the way you prepare for the future. Keep watching. What you are about to discover could change the way you understand life, your choices, and the times we live in. Few have noticed this before, and now it's your chance to see it clearly. Now that we've introduced the idea of a hidden pattern in the last days, let's take a closer look at the context. Understanding the background will help you see why Elder Bednar's message is so important. Throughout history, people have noticed that certain times are different from others. Some periods are calm and peaceful, while others are full of change and challenges. Many times, these changes follow a pattern that is not obvious at first. People experience these moments in their families, communities, and personal lives, and sometimes they feel unsure or confused about what is happening. The scriptures, teachings of the prophets, and Elder Bednar all point out that these times are not random. There is a rhythm, a sequence, that connects what we see in the world and what we feel in our hearts. When we pay attention, we begin to notice this sequence. It can show us where we are and what we might need to focus on. Elder Bednar often emphasizes looking carefully at our surroundings, the choices people make, and how society is changing. He explains that these small details, when combined, reveal a bigger picture. Most people overlook these details because they seem ordinary at first. But over time, the pattern becomes clear. Think about your own life. Have you ever noticed small signs that, at the time, didn't seem important, but later made perfect sense? That is exactly what this pattern is like. The things happening now might seem disconnected, but they are actually linked. Recognizing the pattern can help us feel more aware, more prepared, and more focused on what really matters. Here's the interesting part. This pattern is not meant to scare anyone. It is meant to help people understand, to guide them, and to encourage careful thought and preparation. Elder Bednar points out that those who notice the pattern early have an advantage. They can make better choices, support their families, and respond with wisdom. So as we continue, keep asking yourself, am I noticing the signs? Am I paying attention to the small details that most people miss? These details might seem simple or even ordinary, but together they form the hidden pattern that Elder Bednar talks about. By the end of this section, you'll start to see how these pieces fit together. And soon, we will explore the exact pattern Elder Bednar reveals, and why it is so easy to miss if you're not looking carefully. Stay with me, because what comes next is where most people begin to notice something they never saw before, and it changes the way they understand these times. Now, let's focus on the heart of Elder Bednar's message, the key pattern he sees in these times. This is where everything begins to make sense. The pattern is about how people respond to challenges and opportunities. It's not just about what happens around us, but how we choose to act, think, and feel. This is what many people miss. The first part is awareness. People start noticing small changes, differences in behavior, priorities, or how others relate to each other. At first, these changes seem unimportant. But if we pay attention, we see that they are connected. The second part is choices. As awareness grows, people make decisions based on what matters most to them. Some follow guidance, seek truth, and build strength. Others ignore what they notice, thinking it will pass. These choices shape the future. The third part is consequences. Every choice has an outcome. When many people make similar choices, the effects become visible. This is not about fear, it's about understanding how even small actions affect life over time. The final part is preparation and guidance. Those who understand the pattern can make better decisions, focus on what matters, and support others. Recognizing the pattern brings clarity and purpose, even when life feels confusing. What makes this pattern so interesting is that it repeats consistently. Across generations and different times, the way people respond, the choices they make, and the results that follow are similar. That's why Elder Bednar calls it a pattern. It can be observed and learned from, if we pay attention. Here's what most people overlook. The pattern is hidden. You can't see it all at once. You notice pieces here and there, and only when you put them together does the full picture appear. Many miss it because they focus on one detail without seeing how everything connects. Think about this. There is one part of the pattern that is most surprising, something few people ever consider. Most completely overlook it. But when you notice it, it explains a lot of what is happening today. Stay with me, because in the next section we'll explore modern examples of this pattern, and seeing it in everyday life will make everything we've talked about so far even clearer. Now that we understand the key pattern Elder Bednar points out, let's see how it shows up in the world around us today. These examples make the pattern easier to notice. One way the pattern appears is in everyday choices. Think about the people you know, family, friends, or colleagues. Some notice small changes or opportunities and take steps to act wisely. Others see the same things but do nothing. Over time, the difference becomes clear. The pattern also appears in communities. Some groups notice small problems and work together to improve things. They support each other and adapt to change. Others may ignore what is happening, and over time, the results are very different. Even in personal growth, the pattern is visible. People who pay attention to guidance from mentors, teachers, or spiritual leaders tend to make better decisions and strengthen relationships. Those who overlook these small hints often miss opportunities. Notice this. The pattern is made up of small, everyday actions and habits. When you look at them together, the bigger picture starts to appear. That is why many people miss it. They focus on one detail without seeing the whole sequence. Think about your own life. Have you noticed small hints, opportunities, or moments that seemed unimportant at the time? These are the kinds of details Elder Bednar wants people to notice because they reveal the full pattern. Here's a question to keep in mind. What small signs am I noticing today that might matter tomorrow? These small moments are like puzzle pieces, and when combined, the full picture begins to emerge. Sometimes the pattern appears in unexpected places: how people treat each other, how families make decisions, or how groups respond to opportunities. Most people don't notice it because they are focused only on obvious events. So as we move forward, keep paying attention. In the next section, we'll explore hidden insights, subtle details that most people completely miss. Once you see them, the pattern will start to make sense in ways you never expected. Stay with me, because the most surprising part of Elder Bednar's message is coming next, and it could change the way you understand your life and the world around you. Now, let's look at the hidden insights in Elder Bednar's pattern, details most people completely overlook. These small but important points make the pattern powerful and meaningful. The first insight is that small actions have a bigger impact than we think. A kind word, a thoughtful choice, or a moment of patience may seem small, but when combined with other actions, they shape our lives and those around us. The second insight is that timing matters. Some opportunities appear only for a short time, and noticing them early can make a real difference. When people act at the right moment, the effect grows. When they miss it, the chance fades. Another insight is that how we see things can change everything. Two people might go through the same situation, but only one notices the connections. Paying attention and looking a little deeper helps us understand the pattern. The pattern also shows that small lessons happen again and again. We may face similar situations, and each time, the choices we make either help us understand more or make us miss the lesson. Noticing these repeated lessons is important to see the bigger picture. Here's something to reflect on. The pattern often appears in unexpected areas, like personal habits, routines, or quiet interactions. These ordinary moments hide important insights. Most people miss them, yet they are the core of the pattern. So as we continue, pay attention to small details, timing, and repeating lessons. These hidden insights will soon connect everything we've discussed and make the pattern clear. Stay with me, because next we'll explore how to use these insights in practical ways to strengthen your life and decisions. Now that we understand the hidden insights, let's talk about how to apply them in daily life. Elder Bednar emphasizes that knowledge of the pattern is not just for observation, it's meant to guide action. The first application is awareness in daily life. Pay attention to small signs, small decisions, and small opportunities around you. These may seem ordinary, but they are part of the pattern. By noticing them, you begin to understand how your choices connect to bigger outcomes. The second application is focus on personal growth. Each insight you gain is an opportunity to improve yourself, strengthen relationships, and develop clarity in your decisions. Elder Bednar encourages people to use this understanding to become more thoughtful, patient, and purposeful in life. The third application is helping and guiding others. When you notice the pattern, you can help your family, friends, or community make better choices. Even small advice, encouragement, or a simple example can grow over time and make a big difference. Another key application is reflection and learning. Take time to reflect on your experiences and the lessons they offer. Elder Bednar shows that reflection helps people see the repeated lessons and understand their meaning. This is how the hidden pattern becomes clear in your own life. Finally, there is intentional preparation. By applying these insights, you can approach challenges, opportunities, and changes with clarity and confidence. Preparation does not mean worry, it means acting wisely, learning from experience, and making thoughtful choices. Here's a question to keep in mind. How can I use what I've noticed today to make better choices tomorrow? Thinking this way turns knowledge into action and action into understanding. By practicing these steps, awareness, personal growth, helping others, reflection, and preparation, you start to live in line with the hidden pattern Elder Bednar shared. This makes life more meaningful, focused, and connected. Stay with me, because in the final section, we'll bring everything together, summarize the pattern, and end with a thought that will leave you reflecting long after this video is over. As we reach the end of this video, let's bring everything together. Elder Bednar's pattern is not just an idea, it's a guide. It shows how awareness, choices, timing, repeated lessons, and small actions all connect. When you notice these things, you start to see life in a new way. This pattern is subtle, but powerful. It is not about fear or worry, it is about clarity, understanding, and preparation. It is about recognizing the small signs that most people overlook and using them to make better decisions in life. Now, think about yourself. Have you noticed the small hints around you? The lessons in everyday moments? The opportunities to act with purpose and care? These are not accidents, they are part of the pattern. The more you notice, the more the world begins to make sense. And here's the final thought to leave with you. There is one part of the pattern that is still unseen by most people. It's hidden, almost invisible, but it has the power to change everything you thought you knew about how life works today. The question is, will you be among those who notice it, or will it remain hidden until later? Remember, understanding this pattern is not about knowing everything, it's about seeing clearly, choosing wisely, and staying aware. Keep paying attention, keep reflecting, and watch how the pieces start to fit together. The pattern is already unfolding. Are you ready to see it clearly?